Let's dive right into another explainer. Today, we're tackling something that feels like a giant puzzle for a lot of creators. Where do great stories actually come from? I mean, every time you sit in a dark theater or stream a genuinely brilliant documentary, you're looking at the final, polished product of an idea. But how does that initial spark happen? Is it just some elusive gift handed down to a lucky few? Well, stick around because we're going to completely demystify the origins of extraordinary film ideas and show you exactly how the pros actually do it. Seriously, think about this for a second. Where do they come from? Do you think cinematic genius requires this rare born with a talent? Or maybe it's all about luck, just happening to be in the right place at the exact right time. Or, and this is a big one, maybe you think it's a sudden magical flash of inspiration, like a lightning bolt striking a writer at 3 in the morning. It's a super common assumption, but actually, it's completely backwards. It's so easy to buy into that myth, that amateur assumption where you just sit around staring at a blank page, waiting for magic to strike. But the reality is a whole different ballgame. Professional filmmakers don't sit and wait for inspiration. They hunt for it. They actively cultivate it. Most of the greats, they don't start with a mind-blowing, fully baked concept. They actually begin with totally ordinary, everyday moments that someone just happened to observe and, crucially, ask questions about. Honestly, creativity isn't magic, it's a muscle. So here's the actual roadmap, the exact 5-step progression of how a working filmmaker's brain processes the world. It starts with observing, literally just noticing the world around you. Then you question what you've seen. From there, you imagine the possibilities, you develop those thoughts into a cohesive narrative, and finally, you film the whole shebang. Now, I really want you to notice something here. Imagine is step 3. It is not step 1. You don't start with imagination, you start with observation. So where exactly should you be looking? Let's break down the 5 sources of idea. The very first source is your own life. We're talking your childhood, your family, your fears, dreams, and yeah, even your failures. And why is this so absolutely crucial? Well, because the stories you've actually lived give your films this undeniable, raw emotional honesty. You know exactly how those moments felt in your bones. Some of the absolute greatest filmmakers in history constantly go back to the well of their own lived experiences. Because, let's face it, you just can't fake the authenticity of a genuine personal memory. Moving on to source number 2, the people around you. And I don't just mean your best friends or your family. I mean the shopkeeper down the street, the taxi driver, a local teacher, kids playing at the park, or your elderly neighbor. Pros don't just see these people, they truly observe them. Like, how do they carry themselves? How do they speak? What kind of hidden struggles or secret dreams might be hiding right there behind their tired eyes? Every single person you pass on the street is walking around with an entire cinematic universe in their head. You just have to pay attention. Now think about this. Places create atmosphere. Atmosphere creates emotion, and emotion creates stories. This brings us to our third source, nature and places. Sometimes, a physical location is so powerful that it literally becomes the engine for your narrative. Picture a rapidly melting glacier, a totally abandoned house, a completely empty classroom, or maybe a lonely fog-covered mountain. These environments inherently make us feel something, right? And as a filmmaker, you use that raw feeling as the foundation for your entire plot. Our fourth source pulls back to look at the broader world, news and history. If you look at the greatest documentaries, or even the biggest fictional blockbusters, they frequently pull their initial spark right out of local archives, newspaper headlines, scientific discoveries, or historical events. Real life is incredibly dramatic all on its own. By staying curious about social issues or local traditions, you're tapping into stories that already have deep roots and massive stakes in the real world. And the ultimate creative tool to ignite all of this? It's asking one simple, explosive question. What if? Boom. What if a village lost its only bridge? Just think about the implications of that for a second. How do they get food? Does panic set in? Who suddenly takes charge? What kind of dark secrets get exposed when people are completely trapped together? Instantly, you've got conflict, you've got stakes, and you've got a killer setting. Let's hit another one. What if an elderly photographer found undeveloped film from 50 years ago? Well, what on earth is on those photos? Is it evidence of a crime? Is it a lost love? Who is out there trying to stop them from developing it? The mystery practically writes itself right there. And let's do one more. What if 2 strangers met every day without realizing they were totally changing each other's lives? It's a super simple premise, right? But it's loaded with dramatic irony and raw emotion. The crucial takeaway here is that just one of these compelling questions contains an entire film. You don't need a 100-page script to get started. You literally just need one really good what if. Of course, these rapid-fire thoughts are absolutely useless if you let them slip away. You need the idea journal habit.
The idea journal. Now, it really doesn't matter what format this takes. Actually, scratch that. The format doesn't matter at all, just the habit. It could be a physical notebook, the notes app on your phone, voice memos you ramble into while driving, or even rough sketches. You just have to write everything down. Are 99% of these ideas going to go absolutely nowhere? For sure. But that one remaining note could be the seed of your masterpiece. Capture everything.
Now, let's look at a shift in perspective with a quick demonstration. Take a look at this scene. It's simply a grandfather out in the mountains, collecting grass. Honestly, it's about as ordinary and mundane a visual as you can possibly imagine. To most people, this is exactly what's on the surface, just a man working. But a filmmaker? They look at that exact same scene and see tradition, family, the impact of climate on his crop, the passing of generations, deep love for his land, the inevitability of change, culture, memory. This is such a real game changer. The core thesis here is profound. The difference isn't what is being looked at. The difference is the thematic depth of how the professionals sees it. They look right past the literal action to find the universal human truth underneath. Before you start hunting, let's cover avoiding some common beginner mistakes. So the absolute biggest trap is believing you need a completely 100% original idea that no human being has ever thought of before. Guys, that is paralyzing. The reality is that true originality doesn't come from inventing a never-before-seen subject. It comes from your unique perspective. You don't need to invent a new color. You just need to look at simple, existing things through your own incredibly unique personal lens. Your viewpoint is what makes the film original. Which leads us to the amateur pipeline. You wait for inspiration, and you end up with no film. Why? Because you're basically waiting for a train at a station that doesn't exist. Now, contrast that with a professional pipeline. You actively observe on a daily basis. You relentlessly collect ideas in your journal. You develop those stories, and inevitably, you make films. Being a creator isn't this passive state of waiting. It's an active daily habit of doing. Which brings us to our final and perhaps most important thought. I really want you to take this quote with you today. Instead of asking, where can I find a story, ask yourself, what story is already unfolding around me that no one else has noticed? Inspiration isn't something you have to summon out of thin air. It's happening right in front of you right now. So when this explainer ends, I challenge you to look around your own room, look out your own window, and start your idea journal today. The stories are out there. You just got to start observing.